The vault on Station Kyrith had stood sealed for 3,000 years. Archivist Velshara's crystalline appendages trembled as she guided Lieutenant Aaron Cole through the obsidian corridors. Her species, the Velkori, had been the galaxy's premier scholars for millennia, yet this particular artifact had defied every attempt at understanding. "You must understand." "Lieutenant," Velshara's translator rendered her harmonic speech into flat standard. "This armor has rejected 47 species. The Kralix warlords, the Synthesis Collective, even the eldest minds attempted communion and were rebuffed." Aaron Cole walked with the casual confidence of someone who'd seen too many battlefields to be impressed by ancient mysteries. Her combat fatigues were still scorched from the skirmish at the Outer Rim, and she hadn't slept in 30 hours. "Ma'am, with respect, why am I here? I'm just a grunt who happens to pilot mechs." "Because," Velshara's eye stalks focused intently on the human, "you are the first human we've found since discovering this vault. And the armor's origins, they predate all known civilizations. They entered the central chamber. The armor floated in a suspension field, magnificent and terrible. It wasn't like any combat suit Aaron had seen. No visible seams, no power cells, no interface ports. The metal seemed to absorb light, drinking in the chamber's illumination and giving back something else entirely. Patterns shifted across its surface like oil on water. Impossible geometries that hurt to observe directly. 47 species, Aaron repeated, approaching slowly. What happened to them when they tried? Some were simply ignored. Others, Velshara's voice dropped to a whisper. The armor screamed. Aaron stopped. Screamed? Psychically. Across all frequencies. 3 researchers lost their minds during the synthesis attempt. They still speak in languages that never existed, describing colors we cannot see. Smart people would have walked away. Aaron had been called many things, but smart wasn't always one of them. She'd volunteered for the Fringe Wars when everyone else sought safe assignments. She'd held Firebase 7 alone for 6 hours after her squad was evacuated. And now, looking at this impossible artifact, she felt something she couldn't name. Recognition. "How do I try?" she asked. Velshara manipulated the control panel. The suspension field flickered and died. The armor hung in the air for a heartbeat, defying gravity, then settled to the floor with a sound like thunder contained in a whisper. Aaron approached. Her hand extended, fingers splayed. "Wait," Velshara cried. "You must prepare mentally. The eldest minds required 17 cycles of meditation." Aaron's palm touched the armor's chest plate. The universe inverted. Aaron felt herself falling through layers of reality she'd never known existed. The armor's consciousness, and it was conscious, terribly and beautifully aware, rushed into her mind like a tidal wave. But not attacking. Searching. "Show me," the armor demanded in no language and all languages. So Aaron showed it. She showed it Earth, that blue marble in the outer spiral arm, where humanity clawed its way up from the caves. She showed it millions of years of struggle, of prey becoming predator, of beings who conquered their world not through strength or claws but through stubbornness and spite, and the absolute refusal to quit. She showed it humanity's first stumbling steps into space, how they'd nearly destroyed themselves a dozen times but kept going, how they'd met the galaxy's ancient races and refused to be impressed, refused to bow, refused to accept that they were lesser because they were younger. The armor drank it all in, hungry and desperate. "Yes," it whispered. "Yes, at last." Aaron felt the armor's own memories flooding back. It had been created by the Forerunners, a race so ancient their name was forgotten even by those who studied the forgotten. They'd built it as the ultimate weapon, keyed to one specific trait, the ability to endure, not strength. Not intelligence, not psychic might or technological mastery, endurance. The capacity to be broken and reform, to fall and rise, to lose everything and continue anyway. The Forerunners had it once, but success made them soft. They forgot what struggle meant. When their enemies came, they fell like wheat before the scythe. And their ultimate armor, this armor, rejected them as unworthy. For 3,000 years it had waited, testing each species that found it, finding them all wanting. The Kralix were strong, but surrendered when overmatched. The Synthesis were brilliant, but fragmented under true pressure. The eldest minds were wise, but had forgotten what it meant to fight with no hope of winning. Only humanity, foolish, stubborn, absolutely unreasonable humanity, still carried that spark. That refusal to accept defeat even when defeat was certain, that ability to take a beating that would shatter worlds and still get back up, bloody-faced and grinning, asking, "Is that all you've got?" "Will you carry me?" the armor asked. "Will you bear the weight of what I am?" Aaron Cole thought of Firebase 7, of her squad's bodies cooling while she held the line, of reloading with shaking hands and firing until the barrel glowed red, of the moment she'd accepted death and decided it would have to work harder if it wanted her. "Yeah," she said. "Let's dance." The armor exploded outward. Velshara screamed as Lieutenant Cole was engulfed in liquid metal. It flowed across her skin, conforming, reshaping, becoming something new. Not armor wearing a human, but human and armor merged into a singular purpose. When it was done, Aaron stood transformed. The armor had reshaped itself, incorporating human aesthetics, human proportions, but elevated. She flexed her hands, watching light ripple across the impossible metal. She could feel the armor's power thrumming through her, systems coming online that she instinctively understood despite never having seen their like. "Impossible," Velshara breathed. "The integration, it usually takes cycles." "You just accepted each other?" Aaron's voice came through the armor's speakers, unchanged but somehow carrying more weight. "We recognized each other, Archivist. This thing was built by people who understood what it meant to never quit. And that's the one thing humanity's really, really good at." She took a step. The armor moved like thought, like breathing, like it had always been part of her. "The galaxy's going to want to study this," Velshara said quietly. "They'll want to understand how humanity succeeded where all others failed." Aaron looked at her reflection in the chamber's polished walls. She looked like a knight from ancient Earth legends, clad in armor that sang with power. "Let them study," she said. "They can write all the papers they want. But here's what they'll learn. Humanity doesn't quit. We don't know how. It's not in our wiring. And apparently 3,000 years ago, someone built the universe's most powerful weapon, specifically for people too stubborn to know when they're beaten." She smiled inside the helmet. "Lucky us."